All righty. I am so happy to be here. I, of course, am Melissa Trumble, your joy visionary, and I am joined by Meg Joyce, the brand therapist and designer. This is not an infomercial. This is a joy bomb. I am all about all things joy, and holy guacamole. Are we alive in 2024? Yeah. Can being joyful be a challenge? Ho, ho, ho. Yes. So, Meg, what sort of like toolbox are you rolling with so that you can face the day's ridiculosity, whether it's like global, like the big news outside of ourselves, or even within our home as we're looking at people who are giving us the stink eye under our own roof. So tell me more. How do you
Yeah.
go about it?
So it's funny because and this is going to sound harsh, potentially, and I'm not speaking about all cases, but in the case for most people, joy is a choice.
Yes.
It is and I said this recently on social media, optimism is a muscle. Hope is something that you can practice. It takes effort and practice to notice the beauty around you, even in small places. And it is so easy by comparison to be pessimistic.
We are pre-wired for pessimism, for sure.
Yeah.
And that's what kept us
Yeah.
alive. That's allowed us as a human species, of us as animals to stay alive, is because we are always looking for the negative because the berry could kill us, or you know what I mean?
Right.
The tiger will
Very
eat us.
fair.
Yeah, yeah.
Very
But
fair. But the
it
more that we
doesn't help us
practice,
anymore. We're not going to get
no, and
pounced on by
the more we practice looking for joy, the more happy we get to be. It's tough. It's a really tough thing to learn. I heard a quote ages back, and I can't remember where it came from, and I'm probably going to butcher it, but it was something along the lines of, we are all living the exact lives that we want to live. And I thought,
Ooh.
what a jerk. What a jerk. How dare you? Do you
Yeah,
think that I want to have like teenage angst or to
exactly.
be in an unhappy relationship or whatever it was? But the more I thought about it over the course of the next like 5 years, the more I realized I am making choices that are making me unhappy. And it's because I don't think that I deserve to be happy.
Right. And the thing is with that, we put together our blueprint for living when we're small, right? Like
Yeah.
our brains are growing and developing, and we don't understand squat except that we're the center of the world, and so everything relates to us because we're
Mm-hmm.
little maniacs.
Mm-hmm.
But when we're pulling together all of those things that give us our blueprint about, do I deserve to be happy? Well, apparently not, because all the adults are constantly telling me to knock it off, climb down off the thing, stop biting or scratching or kicking, or, like whatever you're doing, because innately the raising of children is a civilizing process. And that includes don't bite with your teeth, don't scratch, don't, you know what I mean? And so we get told no a ton, a ton. And so we feel like, even if we're raised well, which isn't a blessing afforded to all of us, but enough about me. Like we feel like we're not allowed to be happy because we're never allowed to do what we want to do. And so then that carries with us into our adulthood when it's just like what you say, whether you're the angsty teen or 20 something or the bitter and miserable 40 or 50 or 60 or 70 something year old, all of our choices in how we live are what creates our life. And as I had the very sobering realization after my second divorce, that like, this is the common denominator. And so I didn't do the things the ex husbands did to shatter the marriage and betray the trust. However, I was certainly there willing to turn myself inside out for somebody who didn't think I was worth a hoot. So that's why I do what I do now. That's what ZFG living is about. Zero F's given. Don't give yourself away, and don't give your mindset over to pessimism and looking for dark things. Everything is always around us, is what I believe.
Yeah.
Which
Yeah. And everything is an opportunity to see the good or the bad. And again, that's really diminutive, and it's going to sound harsh, but think about small moments in everyday life. I can think about, oh, this meeting got canceled and I'm disappointed because I wanted to go to this meeting and now I'm in a funk or something bad happened. But I have the opportunity to just look at what else is there for me in that moment. And
Right.
those small moments give you the ability to work that muscle.
Yes.
And if you're constantly searching for something outside of you to make you happy, if you're constantly looking for something outside of you to bring you joy, then you are almost always going to be disappointed.
Well, right, because you can't control what others
No,
say, do, or what comes to you. You can only
no.
control what you're looking for.
Yeah, and that's another thing. That's a story that I use all the time. So my daughter is 4 years old and she has a scooter that she loves. And I always tell her, you have to look up. You have to look up when you're on the scooter because whatever you're looking at, you're going to hit.
Yeah.
Yeah. So if she's looking at her feet, she's going to fall down. So for me in my business, in my life, if I'm constantly focusing on, oh my God, what if I fail? What if I fail? Then I'm going to fail.
Yeah.
I have to look for the opportunities for joy so that I can build up the muscle to believe in myself
Hmm.
and to know that I can do it and be looking up instead of looking at my feet.
Interesting. There is a correlation between optimistic people and pessimistic people. Optimistic people literally look up and over. So when you're walking around, if you're feeling craptastic, just literally put your chin up and direct your gaze up towards just up and
That
notice
is
in your body how different
fantastic.
you feel. Because after I read that study, I was like, I'm gonna call BS on that, right? And
Yeah.
so I was in kind of a pill of a mood. And so I was, getting my steps, kind of grumbling about it. It's hot. And I just was kind of feeling out of it and or just not my normal self. And then I was just like, hoo, I will try the science. And I literally just like looked up and I don't know. My posture improved. I just kind of got a little bit of a pep in my step. And I was just like, dang it, it's working.
How dare they tell me about my own brain?
Exactly. Like we think we're all so precious and unique, but come on, come on. And but the other thing is like you were saying, it sounds harsh, but I also think that it can sound like we are trivializing.
Mhm.
When shit gets real, like you have to experience the bad stuff. It's not like I'm not saying,
Right.
oh, you got in a car crash, time to sing kumbaya. I mean, there are negative things that happen and there are appropriate reactions to that. And then there's the other flip side of that coin, and that is ruminating, going over and over about it, because all that tells our subconscious is that you want more of that misery.
Right.
Whereas
Right.
if we're trying to see things that are sweet, thoughtful, joyous, like whatever your version is of positive something, a good experience, then you notice more. It's just like if you're shopping for a car, then you're going to notice like, oh, wow, I had no idea there were so many, I don't know, white hatchbacks, or whatever kind of car you're looking
Right. All
for.
of a sudden you see them
They're
everywhere.
everywhere. Like, my gosh, everyone's got an electric car. It's not just me thinking of it. Well, no, you're just noticing every single one you see. They were
Yeah.
always all around, especially if you
Yeah.
live in I live in the DC area. Believe me, every freaking kind of car is around and they're all on the highway right now by my house.
Oh. But that's the thing. We get what we're looking for.
Yeah.
And so you have to take the time to take a step back and figure out what it is that you're looking for. What is it that you actually want from life?
What do you want?
What do you want?
Oh, and especially as women, that can be
Mhm.
really hard. I mean,
Yeah,
I got
because we
a
are
couple decades
taught.
on you. Yeah, but it's hard for us to determine, as opposed to what will make the household run best, how can I make
Mhm.
others' lives easier, because we're infinitely capable.
Right.
And we get to put ourselves on that list. We get to
Yeah.
put ourselves on what is the list? Is it, people talk about self-care like it's, I don't know, bonbons and wine, but it's, have you bathed today? Have
I
you moved your
know.
body? Have you eaten food that really makes you feel good and not in that
When you
sugar
go
rush sort of way.
When you go grocery shopping, are you buying the things? This is something that I have lived, which is, I used to go to the grocery store and I would buy the things that my husband likes. I would buy the things that my daughter likes. And I would just sort of be the afterthought. I'm the
Yeah.
one at the grocery store. I'm the one making these decisions. I'm the one doing all the work for this. Why am I picking the stuff that everybody else wants and not me?
And so if you keep doing that, then you're in the hive mentality where you don't even know what you want. And I will tell you this from personal experience, that's a terrifying place to be.
Same.
Like, what kind of eggs do I want? But like I didn't know.
Yeah. Well, that is the case of having those muscles and letting them atrophy.
Yes, 100%.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
have to put ourselves first. Not always, but you have to have a practice. You have to have a practice of looking for joy. You have to have a practice of noticing beauty. You have to have a practice of taking care of yourself and putting yourself first. Because then what happens when the opportunity does arise? We all know this feeling. The opportunity does arise for you to choose yourself first or to look for joy or whatever it is, and you can't do it
You don't even see
because
the
you're
opportunity.
so out of practice.
It feels weird. It feels
Mhm.
uncomfortable. It feels foreign.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
if something feels different, every fiber in our being is just like danger, danger, like don't do
Mhm.
that. That's scary as hell. And
Right.
it's like, well, why should that be
Yeah.
scary? It doesn't need to be scary. We get to decide and have intention about how we're moving through this life and bring it down to this day, this hour, this
Mhm.
minute. Like we're not going live on accident, we planned it.
Yeah.
It's like, hey, can you join at this time? Like right now? Yes,
Right.
no? Okay,
Right.
cool. But
Yeah.
it's also the function of it is seriously, we planned it for a couple of reasons so that we can have this dialogue about joy, so that we can show how two very different people are moving. I mean, we have some similarities for sure, but like we're in different parts of the country for the heaven's sakes. Like we're not the same age, we're decades apart in age. And like how do we move through that? And yet we're both working on having joy in a very fraught time when people are just like, oh, not only am I going to stew in my own misery, I'm going to bring as many people down with me as possible.
Yeah.
Like,
Yes.
I choose
Yes,
not to
because it's
participate in that.
yeah. Well,
No, thank
because
you.
pessimism is contagious because
Yes,
it's easy. It's
it is. And
easy.
we're wired for it. We are.
Yeah.
It
I
is.
I used to yell at my husband all the time because he is Irish, so he is naturally pessimistic. Um,
So you yelled at
but
him. Did that help?
I mean, he's a lot less pessimistic. Well, I shouldn't say less pessimistic. He's a lot more optimistic now, so it must
Okay.
have worked. Um, but but I would get so frustrated because we would be looking at the same situation. We'd be facing the same situation, and I'm looking for how we can move through this
Mhm.
and make it better. And he just wants to sit and wallow. And the sitting and wallowing is so much easier. It is so much harder to pick yourself up and move forward and find a way to be joyful.
Yeah.
And and I'm broken record. It takes practice. It's not something that you can do overnight. But I have a bazillion art therapy tools in my repertoire that I can use when I'm starting to freak out or fall apart. And they can bring me back out of my head and into my body and to
Ooh,
remember
nice.
that I'm here. I'm okay. I was saying to somebody earlier today, all of the things that are wrong in my
Mhm.
life, my relatively privileged life, I do accept that, can probably fit on one piece of paper, maybe half a piece of paper, if I'm
Is that
being
one of the
realistic.
exercises that you do with art
It's
therapy?
not, but I think I'm gonna make it one. Because so all of the things that are wrong in my life can fit on a piece of paper. The things that are good and the things that are possible and the things that are beautiful in the world around me, infinite.
Boom, right there. That's where we're ending it. Love this. Embrace your joy. Let's get to joying it up.
Awesome.